I said, how's everybody doing this morning? They're the same volume, but it's okay. Hi, I'm Sam. I'm part of the team here at Workbox. Workbox is a national co-working space. We were founded here in Chicago. We just raised our Series A last year. We're proud to be a Chicago headquartered company. Rachel, have you been here before? Oh yeah, it goes up more every week. I love it. We love returning people. I'm so glad you all are here. On your registration, there's an option to check that if you want to stay in co-work for the day, you can. I just want to say a couple logistics about that, and then I'll mention a raffle we're doing, and then you won't have to hear from me anymore. The first thing is the logistics for co-working. If you're going to stay to co-work for the day, that means you can work in the space down here on the first floor or on the second floor, anywhere in kind of the open kind of kitchen-y zone until 5 p.m. and then bye. See you next week. The other thing is we're going to clean up like right when we're done. So try to find a place to camp out with an actual chair at a table, and there'll be more seating and stuff that arrives after we're done cleaning up from the morning's events here today. The other thing I'll mention is we're doing a raffle, giving away 2 free months of a co-working membership here.
What?
Whoa! You get a key card, 24/7 access. Drop your name or business card in the bowl in the back, and you'll hear from our marketing team if you win. If you really want to win, come talk to me. I might have something to say. It's a raffle. Okay? The last thing I'll say is this, I forgot. Tomorrow we're having a mixer here, exactly where you're standing. It's from 4:30 to 7 p.m. and it's open to the public, but it's also a chance for all 6 of our Chicago locations to get together and hang out. You're welcome to come because you guys have been coming to this space. So if you want to be there, come on by. And Stuart, it's all you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. This is week 7 of the 1MC relaunch. There are a lot of hands of people who had already attended. Whose first time is this? Welcome. One of our presenters is their first time. Thank you for coming. We're going to talk a little bit about 1MC and the format and who we'll have present today, and hopefully get you excited about participating in the presentation, maybe coming back another week, maybe presenting yourselves. 1 Million Cups was started by the Kauffman Foundation in Kansas City in 2012. It's been around for a little over 13 years, and they have had 25,000 presentations, giving entrepreneurs an opportunity to come up, tell their story, discuss maybe a problem or an obstacle that they're going through, and maybe getting some feedback from the audience like you guys. It's super chill, it's relaxed, it's casual, it's comfortable, and it's safe. It's a great place because we're not pitching, we're not selling, we're just talking about what we're working on. And it's exciting, right? Part of what makes this ecosystem so just inspiring is all the creativity and all the ideas that are flowing and the things that people are working on. So when we'll have 2 presenters come up every week, it's the same format. They present for about 6 minutes. And then we ask, like, one of the fundamental questions of 1 Million Cups is what we as an audience or a community can do for you. And it's powerful, right? When we ask, what can we do for you? It really inspires ideas and creative thinking and problem solving. And so we'll ask, they'll come up, the presenters will come, they'll give their 6 minutes, they'll tell you where they're stuck or what they might need or what they're working on. They'll tell you a little bit about how they're trying to solve that problem for themselves. And then we have an opportunity to help and participate. So I invite everybody to kind of share your opinions and speak respectfully, and enjoy yourselves. Who's had some coffee already? It's good, right? It's sponsored by U3, and there are some stickers. I had a couple in my pocket. Hold on. Oh no! One of them says, Mike went dead. One of them says United by Coffee. One of them says Uplifted by Coffee, and it's like, it's kind of amazing because if you look at the bottom here, it's educating, inspiring, and connecting entrepreneurs nationwide. And it's what U3 are sponsors doing, just connecting people and building community through coffee. I want to thank Betsy. Ask you to come up just for a second. Tell us a little bit about U3.
Cool. Hi, everybody. I'm Betsy Adelstein, and I am a kind of former co-founder of an advertising technology company that was ultimately sold. So this is kind of my second career, and my entire career was fueled by coffee and coffee connections, starting with 3 coffee meetings in the morning, break for no lunch, actually, just right through lunch, and then 3 coffee meetings in the afternoon, and then making a pot of coffee and working all night and starting over in the morning. So I felt like giving back to coffee was like my mission in life. So we started U3 Coffee about a year ago in November and launched the website, and our first roastery is just opened in February in Forest Park, which is which is cool. And we get our coffee from, what you're drinking back there is a blend called Perfectly Wired. It's from Costa Rica and Colombia, and we blend it specifically to kind of fire up the day. It's a dark roast. I'll be bringing different coffees as we go, so we can try different things. But we do kind of give back to the farmer, give back to the coffee entrepreneur. We have a lot of media content on our site around different people who have kind of fueled the coffee industry, and especially kind of the entrepreneurs that kind of have built the coffee industry really from the ground up. So we have also taken a particular, because the co-founders of this company are tech entrepreneurs themselves, we have a love for this industry, entrepreneurship in general. If anybody's worked at 1871, we have an 1871 founders blend and have put the coffee machine in 1871. And I met Mabel and Keith, and we started to talk in 1871. We're like, oh my God, this is perfect. So it was really quick. We decided, yes, we need to be the official coffee of 1 million cups. So that's why we're here. And we'll keep kind of bringing different blends that you guys are drinking, like literally the top 1% of coffee in the entire world, as you should, as entrepreneurs fueling the next wave of successful businesses, hopefully. And I'm excited to be here. I loved the meeting last week, and I'll keep coming.
Thank you, Betsy. Thank you, U3 Coffee. We also have a sort of a co-sponsorship with All Rise Legal. They've still been supporting us. They are also supporting Workbox. And I don't know if anybody here, Leslie, is anybody here from All Rise? Okay, not today, but we thank them as well. And one last thing, because this is a nonprofit. 1MC uses the registration counts, the number of people who come. They use this as they apply for grants and funding. And so it's really important for us to support the broader organization so we can keep doing this. So please click the QR code, register, and let them know you were here. Let them know the volumes and the counts are going up also, so that we can increase the count and increase the connection and enthusiasm. Tell your friends, invite people, and every week, let's get more and more people coming. I'm gonna queue up the first presentation. Brittany, we're gonna have you come up, introduce yourself, your company, what you're working on, and we're kicking it off. Can we get a standing ovation for Brittany?
Thank you. Okay, so this is my first time here. I just kind of came in hard, first time Million Cups, and I'm going to tell you all about my business, Insightful. So my name is Brittany Canty. I'm a product manager by trade. Been doing that for about 15 years or so.
It's here.
There you go. And in 2023, okay, beautiful. In 2023, I started this company called Insightful. I kind of call it hands-on guidance as a service. Essentially, I've worked in startups for the last decade or so, and I know really early stage startups have this problem where they can hire the folks that they can afford, not necessarily with the expertise that they need. And I've been a part of these companies who have wasted a lot of money doing avoidable mistakes and things of that nature. So I kind of wanted to solve that problem. Before I get into that, my background. So software engineer, computer science degree from Notre Dame. Louder? Okay, sorry. Product manager, as I mentioned, and then entrepreneur. Here are some of the logos, and this is actually not my first company. I first started Comfort Eats back in 2019 or so with my good friend who lives in New Zealand. We went through the Founders Institute in Chicago. I think it was like the winter cohort. And essentially it was a custom care package business for American expats abroad. So if you're abroad for study abroad, or the guy that I met here who lives in Costa Rica and who's missing his Cheetos, like this was a way to kind of get it sent to you, the Cheetos. And oddly enough, peanut butter and like salsa were like the most interesting things that people missed from the United States. Yeah, and so it was great that we were able to kind of solve that problem, sent over 1,500 items to 30 countries, which is really cool. And then I ended up kind of putting a pause on that and diving back into fintech and then building digital banks for the last 5 years. And that's kind of what I've done. I've built specifically for like underrepresented communities, but that is the niche I kind of found myself in. So back to Insightful. So mentorship for startups and individuals. So again, really lean teams. We're thinking like sub 10 people with aggressive goals And I'm trying to position Insightful as like a cost-effective way to get the expert guidance so that they can avoid mistakes, they can reach their goals quicker, and kind of make the most of the time that they have. So by kind of getting these mentorship hours, they get buckets of hours with product designers, product managers, and software engineers doing things like, the next slide. Yeah, doing things like working through a specific design problem. So this is like really tactical problems that like a early stage startup is dealing with. They may need some coaching on how to conduct user research because they haven't actually done it before. From a software engineering perspective, maybe need someone to just kind of like chat with and like brainstorm how to build a scalable architecture, make sure that thing is secure, data's not leaking, you know, things of that nature. Because again, like early stage, you don't necessarily have the funds to spend $250,000 on a senior engineer, but you could benefit from like 2 hours a month just to make sure that you aren't building the wrong thing or building it poorly and making sure that you're building the right product for your actual customers, not who you think that they might be. So, so this kind of leads into like the problem that I'm dealing with. I launched this kind of hands-on as a guidance service earlier this year, and it's not quite consulting, right? Like, one, I think consulting has like a bad connotation, particularly for early stage companies, or like, I don't need a consultant. I don't need someone who's just like giving me a presentation. This is not Deloitte, okay? So it's not quite consulting because it's not necessarily like a project basis that they're working with someone. It's not quite fractional work either. So it's not someone who would like work part-time for the company. Let's say a fractional head of product, which I've been, who comes to meetings and all of that stuff. This is kind of like more surgical almost. Like, and you have a specific problem, would love some senior advice, work through the problem together, and then kind of go about your business. So, you know, a great way to avoid mistakes while fast tracking growth. And then also from like the founder's perspective, they can invest in their team. So like if you have a designer, let's say that's only a couple years work experience working with a senior designer, that senior designer is telling them how to be better in their craft. You know, if I was to say the founder, I don't have that design experience. I can't tell you how to be a better designer. I can just give you feedback on, I like this, I don't like that. So, you know, I see Insightful as a way for teams to invest in the team that they have to be able to make them the senior level folks that they want. So my questions for you, have you ever found yourself in this position, so tech founders, where you not knowing what to do next when building a product, you're kind of just throwing something at the dartboard? Okay, I see a couple hands, thank you. I appreciate the validation. And then, you know, wasting time and money just by kind of like picking a choice, but not necessarily knowing or feeling confident in that choice. And then secondly, suggestions on the best way to show the value to customers. So I can talk about this and people get it. They can like feel the problem, maybe they felt it themselves or can understand it. But I'm trying to figure out how best to talk about it in a concise way through the website, through social, so people can get it at like a glance, you know what I mean? Again, product is my ministry, marketing and content is not. So anyway, thank you.
Okay, hold on a second. The speakers have been a little soft. Is this better? Yeah. Okay, all right. But you heard her. Right?
You got it? Okay,
Oh,
all right.
From the top.
So, yeah,
And again.
I'm Stuart, I'm here. No. So this is great, right? Not knowing what to do next and building a tech product, wasting time. We got some head nods. But what are some suggestions on the best way to show the value to the customer? You know, one thing, I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and it was really interesting because they were talking about the value of mentors having mentors. And he really broke down, you know, what's the difference between a teacher and a trainer and a coach and a mentor. And I think one of the things that he articulated is specifically with a coach solves a very discrete problem. You know, if you're an athlete and you're a quarterback, you have like a throwing coach. The receiving squad might have a receiving coach, but a mentor is somebody who really cares about you as a person. And so one of the ways I think the best way to show value is really thinking through the differences between coaching, mentoring, teaching, training, and which role you want to fill, and then having all of your language and all of your communications really focused on that value. And I think that'll help us as an audience really understand the value that you're delivering because it's really focused and it's clear.
Yeah.
Any other suggestions or any other ideas and ways to show value? Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, I totally get it. I hired, I guess they called it a business coach early in my first business, and it was immensely helpful. They were kind of more generalists, so not what you're doing, but kind of like they would sit with small, medium-sized business owners for 4 hours a month and basically do kind of a goal setting and review and problem solving session. They had it on kind of a subscription basis, but what they did that got me was, I don't know if this would work for you, but they just did like the first session for free.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was 2 hours at least.
Oh.
And by the end of it, I was just like, I can't live with that. Like, I need this. I have to have this. And I signed up right then. And I was a customer for 3 or 4 years on a monthly basis. I think giving a little value at first, letting people have a taste, kind of premium thing, was super helpful for me in that instance. And then, I don't know, I haven't looked at this from a content strategy, this niche from a content strategy perspective, but it seems like the kind of thing. I ran a real estate company before. We were really successful, just kind of like doing these deep dive blog posts on kind of obscure topics, but yet they had a lot of search traffic on it. We just had the best answer out there. We got a lot of inbound that way, but that's a long road. So.
Yeah. Can I ask a follow-up question? Why were you interested in business coaching? Were you looking for business coaching? Did someone recommend? Like, how did business coaching, you know, as a kind of a term, you were like, yeah, let me try it out.
So I was a perfect fit for what they were offering. Then again, a little different. At that point, I had sort of been really more freelancing for the past couple of years, but had aspirations of turning the business into something bigger. But I needed some focus, and I was like 26 years old, and I was a little lost. So they basically, I don't know what inspired me to take that first meeting, but I will say I didn't know them from a previous career.
Okay.
But that didn't necessarily help. We were like kind of like competitive, like friendly competitors in that career. And I was sort of like, ooh, I want to take advice from this guy that but I did, and it was good.
Appreciate it. Awesome. Yeah.
On the topic of best way to show value to customers, this is going to be a question and a statement, so you don't have to answer it. But if you want your money from a founder versus if you want your money from an accelerator or an incubator that always gives founders mentors, right? Or like programs, oh, call this person, call that person. Sometimes we've found that the individuals that they provide to us aren't helpful.
Right.
Right? So if your customer is
We can, yeah.
So one thing that I think might be an interesting hook is you can do surveys and figure out what one problem that could be solved in a 2 or 1 hour session is, and like make a list of the top 10 problems that your target audience has, and then create content around having one of your service providers solve that problem within 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that way you're actually, so somebody who's looking for an answer for one problem that they have, like let's say it's creating a deck or creating, a month's worth of content for social, whatever that specific problem is, and just say that your service provider, or show your service providers solving that problem in whatever that allotted amount of time, you would be able to capture attention, and then also really narrow it down and start to build your customer base on those specific.
Yeah.
Because there are so many pain points.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be, so
Yeah.
just start with a few you, and just really speak to those people. Specifically.
Appreciate it. How much time do we have?
Keep
for
going.
questions? Okay. Over here.
Don't stop now. We're cooking.
I love what you're doing, and I think it's already such an accomplishment for you to have like experienced these challenges and have been a technical person, have been a product person. What do you think, kind of going off of what Jeff said about personas, whether it's types of problems or like ways to plug in? Because I think that can translate something complex in like a social format, and then someone might see it and say, "Oh my God, that really reminds me of my friend Mabel, founder." Or I feel like that's what Ellie was saying, you know. And so, yeah, my question to you is, how do you feel about personas? Are there like free-ish kind of digestible themes that you're seeing?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I have been experimenting lately because I have a lot of background in fintech, and so do some of the folks on the platform. Like focusing on the different stages of a startup, so like the MVP, like the product launch, all of that, and specifically like talking about the value of like hearing from someone who's been through compliance before, because that process can take 6 months if you do not know how to go about it, and like what you need to do proactively. And so like I created kind of like a kind of cheat sheet on like the 6 things you need to know to get essentially compliance approval in 6 weeks, I think is what I said, instead of 6 months. So like focusing on like fintech compliance as a persona, just to kind of test out like, is there any interest here? And it's again to try and get that free session. I'm calling it an unblock session. I don't know if that's going to stick, but to kind of get those leads kind of coming through, and then see how that goes, and like try additional personas based on that.
I like that. So see how that works.
Yeah, I'm like taking notes, compliance.
Yeah, appreciate it.
One recommendation, we have companies and people that have experience in mentioned compliance. If there's a side-by-side where this company went without us, and it took this long.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I had a fellow founder who was kind of going through the process of getting his app uploaded into one
The
of
app
the
stores. Yeah.
And I'm watching him stumble. So
Yeah.
when it's time for me to go, it's like, don't do this, don't do this.
Yeah,
This.
exactly.
So just show the side-by-side what it's going to cost there. Here's my price, and you get it right. I think founders.
That's true. Thank you. That's a really great
I
suggestion.
think, could I see that for a second?
Yeah.
Did everybody hear that? There's a real nugget in there. I think one of the things that services like this do is the same thing that funding and capital does. It buys time.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the ways to show value, and Ish was just sort of suggesting in the compliance setting, but really in all settings you're focusing on, when you do it on your own, this is about how long it takes. And when you bring in resources and help and support and community, it takes a lot less.
Yeah.
It's less painful. You feel better about it, and you generally have a better outcome. So that may be it. I think it's a great suggestion.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ish.
Agreed. You still have a question? I know you had your hand raised for a bit. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure what that means. Yeah.
I think it was a question.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I was like, am I done? Do anything?
I'm your target market as a founder and as someone developing currently. I get approached all the time by software companies, and there's 2 buckets of ways that I resonate with anyone that I take a meeting with. One is from testimonials, whether it's something on your site, I've seen on one of the cups, I've seen on Forbes, or a mutual connection that I have trust in those connections that, okay, this might be someone of relevancy. The second is that the lifestyle and the persona and the values that that company is translating is relatable to me. So, if I see a Nike commercial, it's usually selling the lifestyle and then the shoe. For myself, I run a sports tech app, so I'm looking for something, creative, something outgoing, something adventurous.
Yeah.
If that company doesn't translate those personas of who they are, I usually don't see that they would be a good fit for my company.
Makes
So
sense,
maybe
yeah.
just translating either testimonials or your true brand values and giving the entrepreneur vision of what it is to work with you without actually having that conversation.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Amazing.
All right.
Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You wanted the website up?
Oh, yeah.
Can we give a standing ovation for Mabel? Come on up, Mabel! Should I
Hello.
close this?
Which one should I use?
Both. One's for live stream, one's for the audience.
Oh, okay.
Should I close this box?
Yeah.
I don't know if this.
Okay. I think I forgot my presentation. So why don't I just pull it up here on Cha-Ching
Oh, tricky.
I never can find the mic here. I mean the mouse here.
See what you did there?
Oh, the 1MC page. What is this? And here we go. So, all right. So today I'm here to talk about Cha-Ching
You can
Social.
advance slides with a little arrow.
Oh,
Look at
that's
that.
helpful.
Amazing.
So I'm here to talk about Cha-Ching Social. So we're all about investing in yourself, right? And this is an important value because a lot of us wouldn't wake up at ungodly hours to be here today. Because we're investing in ourselves, right? You woke up at 5 or I don't know. I know that you wake up really early.
Yeah, 5:45.
Oh my God. And so we are a social network that helps you invest in yourself using the digital world and the IRL world, like this. And so before I get started, I want to kind of share my journey.
One click down.
Oh, okay. So I grew personally through this framework of always consuming content, connecting with community, and creating, right? And so we're creating today. Today we're all connecting with community, and before this we were consuming content. And so my journey started as right out of college, I moved to New York City and I was working at an advertising agency. And the job was great, but I started like automating my work using this very like hacky Excel spreadsheet that would do like API calls and whatnot. And it was working fine until it overspent one of my clients' budget by $56,000. So definitely had an office space issue. So I was I was fired. I was very sad. But that's when I realized I want to change careers. So what I did was I connected with community by like meeting people, other developers through Craigslist and the Manhattan Neighborhood Network, which I worked at. And then I also consumed content, go to the Borders bookstore. Eventually I would buy a book. And then that led me and helped me launch my career as a software engineer. So my first job was working on machine learning algorithms for brick and mortar stores. And then again, I wanted to upskill myself. And this is always a continuous process. So I upskilled myself and that helped me get a job in San Francisco as a software engineer. When I was in San Francisco, I would spend like all my afternoons hanging out in Dolores Park. And that's when I discovered Bitcoin. And since then, like my life hasn't been the same. And so what I did was I dived into, understanding blockchain. I was able to, join like audit close UC Berkeley classes for free on blockchain. It was free at the time, but and then I worked with the Hyperledger organization on doing like community events on blockchain education. And then it led me to creating a meetup group that was regularly sponsored by IBM.
Huh.
So that helped me get my job as a blockchain engineer. So when I was a blockchain engineer, I worked on stuff like crypto custody, stable coins, and I was able to secure a few blockchain patents. So COVID hit. All of our worlds fell apart. IRL was different, obviously. And so I was able to connect with community through like these online forums, right? And then create using Medium, which started off as like spike blogging that turned into, you know, just growing. And so fast forward, here is Cha-Ching Social. And so yeah, I'm an adjunct professor and founder of Cha-Ching Social today. And so fast forward to the framework. Consume content. Do your reading homework. Connect with community. Show up to class, right? And then create conversation. That's like doing your homework. And so how Cha-Ching Social kind of fits into that framework is you can consume content, you can read articles and find videos and whatnot. You can meet people in real life because we have events on our platform. And then you can also create conversations and create communities. And so here are some of the problems that we're trying to solve. So community building is taxing. It costs a lot of money for like the community creators themselves. They do it out of their kindness of their heart. But, you know, we want to make sure that communities last forever. Like 1MC should be around for 30 years, hopefully.
It will be.
Yes. 100 years. And so we want to make sure we give people who create these communities like financial ownership of what they're doing, right? Like ownership of the content that they produce and so forth. So using decentralized technology. And then we also want to make sure they have monetary incentives to sustain the communities as they grow, because life things happen. Like right now, everything is fine and dandy, but then life things happen, and then we want to make sure these communities last even after that when those situations happen. Traditional platforms are all about fostering networking, but not friendships, and so you need that combination of IRL, you know, to create these deep connections, but also you need that digital interaction to have like that consistency. And then the third problem we're trying to solve is there's a lack of proper access to tools, right? Like we're all very like lucky to have been able to come here today, but that's not easy, right? Like if you live in certain areas in the city or you have certain obligations. And so we want to solve that by creating like hyper localized communities that kind of bridge that, allow them to meet people in person, but sometimes have that digital twin in place. All right, so alternatives today. I'm gonna skip this, but alternatives are like event sites like Meetup and Eventbrite, curated content, like we're kind of competing with like LinkedIn or Discord or Telegram. And then for creator monetization, we see like Patreon as like a major competitor. So today, if you want to join our platform, these are some of our creators on our platform. Yeah, so definitely check them out. All right, so this is our product roadmap. How are we with time?
You got about a minute left.
Oh, okay, I'm rushing.
Yeah.
So this is our product roadmap. Today we're creating a mobile app. We are live on the website. And we will be like, right now some of our content is on decentralized storage, like blogs, but we are gonna be putting all our posts on decentralized, and so creators can have more ownership of what they create, put together. And then this is our growth map. So growing our user base, helping, and this is a very important thing in our growth strategy, is like helping communities grow on our platform. So when our communities grow, like we win. A few examples is like, I'm gonna spotlight Web3 Weekends. Web3 Weekends is having an awesome pizza party tomorrow. Just a quick shout out, but they need to like raise funds for their event, you know, because we need to have this sustainable. So like creating like ways for communities to like collect donations for certain events and so forth. Okay, so opportunities to amplify ourselves. So we need to better connect with different communities in Chicago that require digital twin, and really make sure that this is leverage the communities we have to kind of expand. And then another piece is, I kind of like shared this point to someone, and then they gave me this idea. But the other thing I'll kind of add there that isn't here is like how to figure out how do we introduce advertising on our platform without like pissing off, users. Because every time social media does that, there's pitchforks, right? And so one thing I wanted to just do a small plug is if you share your business on Cha-Ching Social, the 1MC page, by next week, the post that has the most likes will get a $20 gift card. Yes.
Can I see this for a second? Thank you, Mabel. I'm sure there are a lot of questions about technology, security, opinions, but we've got some discrete comments and questions here. Connecting with communities, sustainable marketing techniques, and creating moments that get people to interact with communities at the same time. Does that spur some ideas? Any thoughts? Anything you can help Mabel grow this as a community for communities? Yeah.
Quick question. We've got things like this that are weekly, that are happening with 70 to 100 people. Is it better for your app if you're doing these weekly or like one large thing in the format place? Or it doesn't matter?
It would definitely help. Our target is like kind of these communities that are doing weekly, more grassroots stuff. So, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you might.
I know you're super plugged in the blockchain community already, and probably already on like all those. You had a slide where you showed all the potential competitors where these groups already kind of exist. I'm sure you've already have you like tried interacting in those communities, posting like cross-posting your content there to drive traffic back to your site, like Reddit, LinkedIn, wherever else these groups and communities exist, like be trying to cross-post there?
Yeah, definitely. So like some of you are my LinkedIn friends. You'll see me like doing that a lot on LinkedIn. I also do that on Reddit. And the interesting thing I found was like the lifespan of like post on LinkedIn is very short. It's almost like a day, less than a day. But on Reddit, it's like we'll get like if I put a post on Reddit, I'll get like clicks for like a few weeks.
The traffic from Reddit is I found.
Yeah, definitely. Reddit's definitely. I've been doing some weird hacky stuff on Reddit, but it's been working, She has a question.
Coffee's kicking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the decentralized stuff under your? That's like the coolest thing to me.
Yeah. And I think it's definitely like a thing that we don't think about as often, but the whole idea is like, when you post content on like Facebook or Instagram, end of the day, like if you wanted to stop. So an example is like they post so much content on TikTok, these creators, like this is their livelihood sometimes. And they put so much content in TikTok. And I remember meeting with creators on the Sunday that TikTok went down. And there were like a ton of creators that were like, I lost like 100 videos. And so this is like an important thing, especially when like, social media becomes very like politicized and like, it's just my philosophy that, people who create stuff should have ownership of it, right? And everyone in this room understands the importance of that. But yeah, sorry, to go into the details. So yeah, like decentralized like storage means that, when you post on our platforms, right now it's just with blogging, but when you post, we put in a decentralized storage. So, and something like Farcaster. So anything that's put into like something called a Farcaster node is accessible by other apps that are running a Farcaster node. So you don't have to, like if you hate us in 10 years, you can just leave and you'll still have your content at another site. So yeah, did I answer that? Nice. Yeah.
I guess for that first question, why would I require digital twin? I guess that's the first part of the question, and then I have a follow-up to that.
Sure, what was the question?
Why would I require?
Why would you need a digital twin?
Oh, a digital twin for communities. So there's the weather's nice now, but what happens when it's freezing out? Yeah, November. are we all gonna be? Maybe some of us are committed, but some of us are gonna want to like stay at home.
Tech walk definitely gets harder.
Definitely. So the whole idea is like you want to like still maintain that consistency. You don't want to lose your friends and during winter, right? And like sometimes you just can't make it to like stuff in person. So it's a combination. Like building relationships needs like that in person once in a while, but it also needs consistency and like continuous like conversations and interactions.
Yeah, I think it's the connection between the events. I think where a lot of the value is added, right? We have this thing every week, and when I come a following week, I hear about the conversations that happened from Wednesday to Wednesday. And so maybe this is just a platform that helps facilitate that and keep that energy for those events and those communities alive.
Thank you. I'm gonna steal what you just said.
Yeah, I think you should.
Well said.
We're running low on time. Any last questions or comments for Mabel? Well, everybody knows Mabel. You'll see her. She'll be drinking coffee, and you can talk to her later.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mabel and Brittany. It takes a lot of courage to come up here.
Thank
I mean,
you.
you guys have been a great audience. You make it easy. You make them feel safe and comfortable. But it's I applaud you, all three of you. Betsy, you came up, talked about your business, your experiences. Mabel and Brittany shared their businesses. Please come to the link. If you see Lauren in the back, hi Lauren. Everybody see Lauren? Talk to her if you want to present. If you've got a story to tell, if you're stuck and you need some help, we'd love to have you. To come up here and present as well. Obviously, you get an idea of what it's like and how comfortable it feels. Please follow us on LinkedIn. Please follow us on Instagram. If you decide you want to stay and co-work, if you want to meet some people for a little longer, fold a chair, put it on against the wall, go in the back, hang out with some people. Does anybody have any announcements? Anything? Any milestones you've achieved? Any events that are coming up? Any pizza parties tomorrow night?
Man, we were like hammering home that pizza party. Okay, so quick story. So yes, there is a pizza party tomorrow. It's actually the 15th anniversary of the first Bitcoin transaction when a dude spent 10,000 Bitcoin to buy 2 Papa John's pizzas. If you have looked at the price of Bitcoin, or if you even care about it, it's like 107,000 per Bitcoin right now. Somebody smarter than me does that math over there. 10,000 times that, whatever that big number is. But that's how much 2 Papa John's pizzas are worth today, 15 years later. The point is that since 2021, Pizza DAO is celebrating the fact that, hey, there's this new technology that you can transact with. And tomorrow, the pizza party is happening at Cube. We have a DJ. We have a couple of different pizza providers, and we have a lot of friends around. There's about 160 people that have RSVP'd as of right now. We're trying to see if we can get it to 200. So let's just party and have some great pizza, like Professor and Jets and all that fun stuff. That's one thing. The other thing is this: if you are into that Web3 space, Web3 weekends, which Mabel mentioned earlier. There are back-to-back events Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Some of them are social, some of them are technical if you want to learn about that space a little bit more in depth. Just hit me up or social media, and I'm more than happy to share the details. But those are my event announcements for the rest of the week.
Those are great event announcements for the rest of the week. Anybody else got anything coming up? Okay, well, I asked you guys to think about presenting to sweeten the deal. We have gifts for the presenters. Mabel and Brittany, can you come up and get your tumbler and your notepad?
Oh, wow.
And we're going to ask the organizers to come up and take some pictures. I invite you guys to get up, talk to each other, engage, tell a story about what you're working on, have some coffee. But if you don't mind helping us gather some chairs on the way in, not out. And thank